Well, hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. We're just light with the comics today. We talked a little bit about some politics, but, we figure this is pretty much the last show that we're going to do as we stand on the eve of destruction. So, we talked some politics, but we just had some fun. Greg Proops, from Whose Line Is It Anyways, with us, and Guy Obilam, Yanni Ababa. So we have a good time, and hopefully today we teach you some things, but hopefully today we just make you laugh and we entertain you. I'm going to ask for my regular request from you, and I'm really praying for you to do this for me now, and that is we really need your help with YouTube. And when I say I need your help is we need subscribers. We've got we're getting up close to 1,000, I think, but we don't have we've got more than that listen, but not that many that actually physically subscribe. So if you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It just pops up in your feed. You can watch it or not, but just subscribe for us. If you like the show, do that. If you're somebody who is listening to the audio portion of this, go to whoever your provider is, be it Spotify or iTunes, wherever. Give us a 5-star review. That helps people to find the show. Or also go on YouTube, find Copeland's Corner, and give us a subscription there as well. So please subscribe to us, because one of the things I've been looking forward to forever is doing this show live. So, right now we record Wednesday, we drop on Thursday. If we can do the show live, then you get to be a part of it while we're doing it instead of watching what we taped yesterday. So subscribe. And a matter of fact, get your whole damn family to subscribe, as a matter of fact, too. All right, on with the show. This is part of the podcast we call Headliners on the Headlines. We got a great panel. I should mention, by the way, that I said last week this was our 200th episode, and we forgot that we took 2 weeks off for the holidays. So this is actually 198. So sorry, you guys. Sorry we got you here under false pretenses. If you want to hang out for
leaving.
2 weeks.
I'm bye.
It's 198. So we got Yanni Ababa here, and Guy Obilam here, and Greg Proops is here. Thanks. Are you off the road, Greg?
No, I'm in Everett, Washington, home of fog.
Home of fog. I haven't been up to Washington State in forever. I used to play Seattle all the time at the Comedy Underground, and I used to play the Improv.
Oh my God, the Underground.
It was pretty progressive, and I've heard that may have changed. Is that accurate?
Oh, it's reasonably progressive, I think. Washington's like everywhere else on the coast. When you're in the cities, it's groovy, and as soon as you travel a few miles out, you can get that feeling that yield signs are going to be shot because no one's going to tell you what to do.
Where was that place that we used to play that was part of the Pacific Northwest up there, which is where they tested the atomic bomb? Was it Everett? What was it? It was part of that.
Was it Kennewick? No.
Right?
They have the nuclear reactor out there, and they would always be like, "Don't say anything about atomic energy."
And in fact, the high school mascot was a mushroom cloud.
That's the Tri-Cities. That's like Kennewick, Richland, and Pasco.
Yeah. It was Richland.
Yeah, it's like a cancer cluster,
Jokers.
and the
I'll be there in June.
And all that.
Come on out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Eastern Washington's another bag, but every time I've ever played Spokane, they've been really nice to me, and I always have people come up and go, "Look, we're not all Nazis here," which is what you have to remember about everywhere,
Well, Spokane isn't like, I did the Spokane comedy competition. I was like 21 or 22. Me and Chris Titus, we roomed together.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And
that's a cop series.
Yes. And so the gig was, we played one night in Coeur d'Alene, which was right next to where the neo-Nazi compound was.
Yeah.
Then the next night was in Moscow. In Moscow, we played at that university where that guy, like last year, stabbed 4 students to death. We were playing in that same place. And then the next night was Spokane. And Spokane was fine. It was just Idaho that was a little hinky. And I remember the semifinals was in Sandpoint, Idaho. And if you've never been to Sandpoint, remember Mark Furman from the OJ trial, who said the N-word so many times it was like he had Tourette's. That's the place.
Bill Hicks did a very memorable routine about him.
That's right, he did. That's the place that he moved. That's the place that he
Of
moved
course
when he
he did.
retired from LAPD. And that's one of only two places in my entire career. I've been doing comedy since I was 18. My entire career, I was called the N-word. Was there walking from my hotel to the gig. A pickup truck full of guys drove by and yelled the N-word. And Mark Furman goes, "That's where I want to go.
Wow.
That's where I want to live."
I was
They tried
called
to
the
start
N-word
Oh.
just last month in Kroger's.
I'm
I live
sorry?
in Tennessee, so you know.
Well, Tennessee. That's like saying hi.
Kroger's.
That's like saying howdy, miss in Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah, I just looked at him and I was like, he's way too old to just even react to, and I just walked away. He was like
Yeah.
1,000 years old.
Kroger's with the
I don't
hard
know why
R.
he was in the grocery store by himself, but you know.
Where are
Maybe
you
he
in
was-
Tennessee, Yanni?
I'm in Nashville. Well, I'm in Brentwood, which is just outside of Nashville.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah,
So
it's like the Mill Valley of Tennessee.
You're not in the good Brentwood like the OJ Brentwood.
No, I'm in the bougie Brentwood.
Right.
The bougie
Yeah.
No, I have relatives in Nashville, and my buddy Charles lives there, who was actually on the television show Nashville.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I loved that show.
Yeah.
Okay, no, before we move on, Greg, I got to talk to you about the I saw the picture that you got behind you when you posted it on Facebook. All right, tell me the backstory.
I went to a Biden event with my wife Jennifer earlier this year, or last year rather, at the very beginning of last year, and he was playing sorry, we're all comedians. Biden was playing at a early show and a late show.
Who opened?
By the way, he works blue in person. Yeah,
He's the Bob
Christ.
Saget of presidents.
I know, right? I'm surprised I'm not going like this while I'm telling you this. Comedians we're like Pavlov's dog. We went to a rich person's house and he paid money, it was one of those. And Biden came out and he was great and he was really forthright and everything. And Karine was standing behind me. And Jennifer goes, "Look, there's Karine Jean-Pierre." And her and I had been chatting on what used to be known as Twitter before the Nazis took it over. And I said, "Hi." And she's a fan of Whose Line Is It Anyway? So I go like, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, "Give me your phone number." So I hand her my phone and I swear to you, she put White House press secretary with her name.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
right. So we played Washington, D.C. in April. And fortunately, I'd lost some weight by then, which was nice for me. And anyway, we all went to the Who's Live guys. We all went to the White House and she gave us a tour of the press room, as you can see there. And she let us all get up and pretend to be knobs behind the thing and pretend to take questions. We all took pictures behind it. Jennifer came too. And they gave us a whole tour. And then they took us in the Roosevelt room, which is adjacent. By the way, this room is as small as it appears on camera. This room is small as a hotel room.
Really?
The press room is
how many-
ridiculously
How many did they cram in
small.
there? Because it looks like it's
30,
packed.
40, but like school lunch.
Like playing the Holy City Zoo.
Exactly. It was the zoo, except for no one walked in front of you while Larry Brown was on stage. And and no one went to the toy boat after they got stoned.
Come on, Robert. I sat through Popeye.
Right, the greatest heckle in the history of mankind, and so and the room's really small. Then we went to the Roosevelt room, which was named after Teddy and Franklin and whatnot. And then they go, "Oh, we don't mind. Hopefully, don't mind. We got to rush you out. We've got the defense minister of Iraq coming in, and we have to do a meeting with him." And Jennifer and I had seen a car the night before on the street, and Iraqi officials get out of it. And we knew they were Iraqi because several of them were wearing red berets and full uniforms.
Yeah.
And it was when we allowed the Israelis to use Iraqi airspace to go to Iran. It was the night before that. And so the day of that, we went there. She said, "We got to meet with the thing from Iran." Next day, the event with Israel using Iraqi airspace to go to Iran happened. So we were there the day right before they had the meeting that allowed that. And then today, of course, the peace thing. So she couldn't have been nicer. She took us to her office. She's got a football jersey from, Bayer football club in Germany, and
Bayern Munich. Yeah.
pictures of all these lesbian icons on the wall, and just fucking, God, she's the shit.
Well, I will
She
tell
was
you
a-
this. From what I understand, Trump's press secretary looks a lot like her.
Who's his press secretary?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
if you're looking at a negative, she looks a lot like her.
Uh, his press secretary is named Yosef.
Are you
Not
kidding?
anybody. Yeah, well, he should be.
Should be.
It really doesn't matter who his press secretary is because it's going to be absolute
Lies.
Soviet Nazi style propaganda for 4 years. So
What
All
if
right,
he, what
let
if
me
he
ask you
just
this.
merged all of his former press secretaries together? So it was like a nervous Sean Spicer with like Huckabee's wonky eye, just all of it put together. That's what I think the next press secretary is going to
Right.
be.
John
Let me
Spicer.
let me ask you this. You mentioned Twitsy. You mentioned Twitter. Twitsy. I said Twitsy. I said you mentioned Twitter before the Nazis took it over, and the way that you see Mark Zuckerberg capitulating to Trump is just it's just nauseating. He's getting rid of fact checking. He's moving the standard practices from California to Texas because he feels there'll be less bias there. He donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural. He's basically going to turn Facebook into Twitter, and it's a lot easier for most of us to just go, Twitter's a cesspool and it's easy to just dump it. But you're talking about rules that he's making that are going to change Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And then now you got Bezos kissing his ass. So I don't know. We can't boycott everything, or can we? I mean, can you get by without Twitter and do what it is that you do without Twitter, without Instagram, and without Amazon? And I
You don't need Amazon.
Yeah, you
Well,
do.
I mean,
No, you don't.
I
Yeah,
need
you do.
Amazon.
I need
There are
Amazon, too.
things that I cannot get anywhere else, and I feel like a horrible person every time I press buy now. And I am working that out with my higher power. But Facebook is really hard because I've been with Facebook since they started,
Me too.
right? So
Me
I
too.
have like lots of data that I have to figure out you can import your data and download it to a zip file and then delete everything and have your data. But I don't know how to do that. I'm trying to figure out how to do it with TikTok as well, but I don't know. Facebook has been problematic for years and no one really talks about it. Facebook has facilitated genocides in other countries with their misinformation. And now just him like sitting there looking like he's like a Russian mobster, like all he needed was a tracksuit, and I would have been like, "Oh, okay,
Right.
we're in the Richmond district, like cool." But I mean, it's so hard because social media is how like we, as our career and other people, advance their stuff. Social media has helped small businesses become huge businesses and blow up, and. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can't boycott everything. I am torn. I'm a block away from Chick-fil-A. I need Amazon. There's a Starbucks. Like my life is hard. I'm a horrible person. So
I won't do Chick-fil-A. I do boycott Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Their chicken isn't good enough for all the homophobia. If it was better, like if Popeyes was homophobic, I would have a problem. But Chick-fil-A doesn't.
And Hobby Lobby, I won't. Well, they opened a Hobby Lobby here, not far from me, and I won't go in there.
You can just go to, was it Mike's?
Not because of the bigotry, but just I don't have any hobbies.
Yeah, I don't go to Walmart. I don't go to Hobby Lobby. I haven't been to Chick-fil-A. My niece used to live with me. She's 5 years old, and she loved Chick-fil-A. So I was like, fine, let's go.
I mean, the waffle fries are pretty good.
But
I don't do Home Depot either because Home Depot they are major donors to MAGA, and I'm not giving him money to give to MAGA, and I'm not handy worth a shit, so I just hire people to do stuff.
Right, and then they go to Home Depot. There's no.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
This is don't ask, don't tell about Home Depot. You have to put it in the thing. Listen, I'm going to hire you for this gig, but you have to go to Lowe's,
right,
or Ace Hardware.
We all try to be vigilant and observant of of not supporting Nazis. But the problem is we live in America. And as soon as you get out of a place that has variety, there is no variety. Mm-hmm. And you're lucky to get a Subway or a Jersey Mike or a Chick-fil-A. And almost certainly it's owned by a right-wing asshole, because that's everything in America. All entertainment corporations, the media corporations, it's very difficult to escape. Yeah, every once in a while there's a Dick's Sporting Goods or a company that's really got the right, got their heart in mind.
Costco.
But I mean, Coca-Cola just gave him a commemorative Diet Coke thing, and they're really sucking up to him. And it's like, am I going to try to never have a Coke again? I guess, but eventually you're going to have one somewhere. We live in the world. And, I remember something like when I lived in London, people would be like really huffy about McDonald's. And finally, a woman wrote an article in the paper and said, look, I have little kids. And when you're in a foreign place and you want to go to a restaurant, you can't really go to a nice place. And McDonald's is sort of a safe haven to bring children to and stuff. So if everyone could get off my ass for supporting the dominant paradigm for 2 seconds. So there's that kind of dichotomy that we all, but I went off Facebook because for the second time, I did it in 2018 or whatever, because I was so hacked off about Cambridge Analytica and Hillary and the absolute misinformation. And speaking of N-bombs, as you were before, it was the only place where I would post a picture of Michelle Obama or something, and there'd be that all over my page. He absolutely has never made any effort to moderate Facebook or to make it a clean, nice place for people. And now with his, the push boat perm and the horrible gold chains and everything, it's easy to, am I going to get off Threads eventually, I think? I mean, I feel like I've talked too much, but I will say one last thing.
Yeah.
The reason why Musk bought Twitter, one of the many reasons, was to destroy the community that everyone had built there. More than almost anything else. One, it was a great way to disseminate information instantly. Police, fire, earthquake. We live in California.
I mean, look at Arab Spring. I mean, we found out so much about Arab Spring because of Twitter. That's when Twitter really came into its own.
Right? And then Black Twitter for me was a lifeline. I followed so many people on Black Twitter. That's where I got my information from. It's where I heard what was happening. They were way ahead of everyone because they do research and they follow people and they actually know what's going on way more than like liberal Twitter or whatever. And he had to destroy that. He had to destroy it before the election because it was way too effective a tool for communicating. And it really kind of is the difference between winning and losing, in my opinion.
And you
saw how many people from Black Twitter were at the convention and stuff.
That's on both.
The whole K-Hive, everybody. It was,
Well, it's just scary because I don't know what to do in terms of this because, again, based on what it is that we do need social media. I mean, you have to be using social media to get people out to your shows. You're on tour, for God's sakes. So what do you do? I mean, I've got a couple tens of thousands of followers on Facebook right now. So do I want to lose them? But at what, but do I want to be a part of that cesspool? So it's just it's easy for me to get off Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much. I mean, I'll go to look at things, but then once he set it up so that you're getting Elon Musk tweets, whether you follow him or not, and their lies and misinformation and disinformation. It's just I'm done. Enough with that. So then you look and think, okay, well, Threads is an alternative. Well, now that Zuckerberg owns Threads and Instagram and Facebook, and they're all going to become mouthpieces for God's sake. Zuckerberg's going on Fox News. He's been on Fox News 2 or 3 times in the last week.
I mean, I am not a good person.
Listen, and this is the guy that banned. This is the guy that on January 7th banned Trump, saying that he was dangerous, and banned him from Facebook. And now he's giving $1 million to his inaugural.
Let's get into the conspiracies and the ridiculousness. Listen, these guys are billionaires. They got more money than Croesus, and they're bored to death. And then they start reading all these things, and now all of them want to be Alexander the Great. And they think they can just take over the whole world, right? They're like, we're going to run all this shit. And that's how they do it. And,
Okay, but what's going to stop them, though? That's the thing. What's going to stop them when people are not turning to the mainstream media anymore for or as much to get their information, and that mainstream media is normalizing Trump and is acting like all this crap is normal, so you can't go by what it is they do or they say. The fact that the ABC gave $15 million to trip over the Stephanopoulos thing. I mean, that ABC News lost all credibility with me once they did that, and then all the other places you go are just simply propaganda by billionaire oligarchs on behalf of Trump. People will believe what it is that they hear. So, I mean, is this the new normal? Is this the way that it's going to be even after he's hopefully out of office in 4 years?
Well, I mean, there's Blue Sky. Blue Sky is so far pretty good, except for the porn bots. Like, porn bots follow us everywhere, and I'm tired of it. But I don't know why some girl named Tatiana thinks I'm interested in her OnlyFans, but whatever. And for now there's TikTok. But there's so much misinformation on TikTok that it's hard. The most accurate information I've been getting is from YouTube and Google. And
Google.
Yeah, I Google it and then I read like 4 different things about it before I make my decision. Because they're good at sneaking in some weird like Breitbart story there where I'm not interested in that.
Well, I read a thing today.
YouTube loves to do that too. Like, you'll be watching, chess tutorials, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Well, since you're watching chess, maybe you would like some right-wing propaganda." Like, no, I'm not. I'm here for chess and pick girls. I don't understand what the right-wing propaganda has to do. And nothing that I've ever watched on YouTube should ever make you think that I want to see some bullshit misogynist right-wing propaganda. I don't even.
I was reading before we started that Wikipedia is now the 7th most viewed website in the world, and that Wikipedia is now almost the gold standard in terms of things that are accurate, because they do fact check, and they've got thousands and thousands of people that are fact checking.
They do fact check? Because I thought you could add whatever you want to a Wikipedia thing.
You can, but there are people who correct it. I mean, I had a kook, a stalker years ago who, would do things to my, I've got an entry in Wikipedia, and they would put things like that. I was a charter member of NAMBLA, the North American Man Boy Love Association.
Wow.
Up there and stuff. And they got it right down. Every time he put it up, they would put it right down and correct it.
Right. 'Cause you're not a charter member.
To be fair.
I was part of the second wave, if you're going to be accurate. Hey, you mentioned porn a second ago, and I was reading this that there's 17 states that as of January 1st restrict access to Pornhub. 17 states where you cannot get Pornhub. It's Texas, Utah, Louisiana, all the usual suspects. Texas, Utah, Louisiana, Mississippi, Virginia, Montana, Florida, South Carolina, and coming soon, Georgia. So
but not Tennessee. What?
Hey.
No, I don't see it yet. Well, that's it. Well,
it's coming.
It's early in the year.
Tennessee is always with that stuff. It's like, hold my beer. Let me do something crazy. No one pays attention to us, so let's do it first.
Do you think that it is a First Amendment issue, number one? And number two, do you think that there really is anything that you can truly do to ban porn?
Because no one has a VPN in Texas. You can't stop it. But that's a thing that I always talk about. Is our generation had to find porn, and these generations have to avoid porn.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
That's a big thing. Like, porn's been around forever, but you had to, your grandfather had a magazine, or you had to find a VHS tape, and
I'll tell the truth, and you lie. Both of you are lying if you don't agree. If you say you didn't have a penthouse or
I just read it for the articles.
Between your mattress and your box spring.
Yeah. We used to hide them in the pine needles behind my apartment building. Of course.
So now,
And
when you
it's-
smell pine trees, do you get a little like, there's probably some porn in here?
Every time I see a
Like, don't bring that
chipmunk,
Christmas tree in the house.
It
It makes me think of porn.
triggers something in you, huh, Greg?
every time I see a sparrow, I lose my mind.
Are they even still
guys,
around
it's
anymore?
Yeah, I think they are, but like, I guess it's for the old school people.
What, magazines?
Yeah.
I mean, Playboy and Penthouse. Are
It
they
better
still
be,
around?
because I'm going to Texas this year.
Playboy's still around, but it's not in print. And sometimes when you go to the smoke shop or the liquor store, in the back they'll have the section of like all the leftover porn magazines from way back in the day. And I've heard that you can buy them for like $3 for $10 or whatever, if you're making a collage or doing some sort of artistic thing.
I will tell you, I did find out something I've wondered about since I was 13 years old, and that is, I've been playing around with ChatGPT lately, and I asked whether or not the letters in Penthouse Forum were real. And something I've wondered since I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Recently, I had an experience that I'd like to share.
I was
Although I'm
hitchhiking across.
normally not a forward person, I was at a truck stop. The premises are always so good, and the writing was so consistent. Consistent writing was the key to those.
There was one in Hustler where one of the phrases was, I started shaking like a dog trying to shit a peach pit.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, man, that's creative. At least, like, that's a simile that I'd never heard before.
Well, according to ChatGPT, is that the letters were kind of real, that they came in, and then their staff would spice them up.
It's like stand-up comedy. You embellish it. There's truth, but you embellish it a little bit.
Yeah,
I think the whole point of it is, of course, for these states to take moral high ground on another fictional issue, because it feels like, we're in two countries. There's the one that's sort of dealing with the day-to-day thing, like, oh, maybe we should have, phone lines and computers and airports that work. And then there's the other group that thinks that trans people and a lot of issues that have no impact at all, or made up issues. They often.
It's in Project 2025. They want to ban porn and violent video games. It's like they put it in writing, and these states are all run by people who are religious extremists. Like Mike Johnson is part of that group. The 7 Mountain Ministries, who feel that in order to be a good Christian, you have to get into government and control government so that it adheres to your religious doctrine. And so, Mike, he has a porn pact with his adopted son that no one's seen in a while.
That is the weirdest thing.
Guy.
What is that thing again?
So
I forget.
strange.
I read it when it first broke. What's the story again?
They hold each other accountable for porn use.
Yeah.
So,
they keep
Man,
each
is
other
that a
from
great
looking
bonding
at porn.
experience? Yeah.
Right? Hey, stepdad, I noticed that you were watching Kinky Nurses. How was it?
But I think what she's saying is right. It's religious fundamentalism, and you can argue the First Amendment part of it, but to me, it's all part of a bigger mind control package, and it also speaks to the heart of their hypocrisy in so much as
Raging hypocrisy. How many child abusers are in your church?
Oh, it's always the
many-
youth pastor.
Yeah.
How many youth pastors
The
get
dude from
caught all the time?
Tennessee, whose wife he met, he's like 60. He met her when she was 14, and he was a youth pastor at their church.
Mhm.
That's how they met.
Yep.
Right now in Tennessee, they're trying to change the child bride laws and the first cousin marriage laws. Oh, I might be moving.
First
back
cousins
to
can't get
California
married
soon.
in Tennessee?
No.
Huh. The more you know.
Well, I've got a friend from West Virginia who says it's very common. I mean, I always thought it was just a joke and just a way that we make fun of people in red states. But no, in West Virginia, first cousins marry all the time, all the time. She said she will not get her ancestry.com done because she's afraid of what she's gonna find.
they just hand you a mirror.
Oh my gosh.
Look at yourself, it's you.
But
Yeah, yeah.
it's so insulated there,
Yeah.
it's like their own little world, their own little Lord of the Flies. And so what are they, that's just kind of,
It is scary. When I drove from Washington D.C. to Nashville, it's like a 9-hour drive, and you have to drive through West Virginia. And I stopped at a McDonald's because that's all there was, drive through. And she was like all the stereotypes, like the meth teeth, the meth energy. She was like looking at my license plate. She's like, "You're from California," kind of like, "Take me with you, like get me out of here." It was a tiny town. It was like a couple of light stops. It's all the stereotypes.
well, what I found out is again, ran from hanging out with somebody from West Virginia. You know that there are no doctors in the state of West Virginia. There are literally no doctors.
Oh wow.
There are nurse practitioners that you go to, and if you
All right,
really,
my cousin is a doctor in West Virginia.
really,
Several.
Is he though,
Yeah.
Greg?
well, for how long? Because she told me that there are no
No,
doctors
his name
that
is
apply out.
Proops. He's Dr. Proops, and
Okay.
I have loads of relatives there, and yes, he works at a great big hospital downtown in West Virginia. But it is as bad as you say. I mean, the people that have any money there are okay. The government there has been really super repressive, and like Louisiana, I would say it might be the most 49th or 50th in almost everything.
Well,
Education,
well, she says it's a battle between Mississippi and West Virginia.
yeah, it's
always
really
at the
bad.
bottom. But
It's really bad there.
for schools and for everything else, it's always about, and a lot of it is because of the fact that they raped the land for coal. The rich came and raped the land for coal, and people were not getting paid money. People who worked in the coal mines didn't get paid money. They got company script.
Back in the day,
That's
yeah.
that's how it is that they got paid. So then they leave, and then the Sackler family comes in and gets them all hooked on Oxy. These people were targeted because a lot of these people were injured from working. So I mean, it's a horrible. It's really a horrible situation, and it's a horrible existence. And you look at that, and you wonder, so why are you voting for billionaires? I mean, look at how you
Because
think they give
billionaires
a
will
shit
keep
of you? They did
boys
this
from
to
playing
you.
girls' sports.
I think that
billionaires
people. I think that they want to. They think that there's a couple of things, like for the Trump thing. I think there's the racist, right? There's the
That's the
person
biggest thing.
who's grieved and thinks that if this guy becomes president, I could become him. But they think it's just going to be magical. Like, there's a group of people in this country who don't want to work for anything and think that they're owed something for being assholes, in my opinion. Let me end that with "in my opinion."
And it's not just that they think they're owed something, that they don't want to benefit if they think that black people and minorities will also get the same benefit.
Yeah. And
right. That is one of the biggest problems is like, well, yes, I could use these expanded food stamps or more social safety net, but not if black people are going to get it.
So you met my
they
cousins.
don't understand it. Yeah.
Yes, I have met your cousins. I've probably smoked weed with your cousins and had this discussion.
The woman in Georgia Georgia's already started. Some state governments are already starting to implement this Project 2025 stuff, and he hasn't even been inaugurated yet. So Georgia is already taking away people's food benefits, their SNAP benefits. Now let's keep in mind the largest recipient of welfare in the United States of America are white people, especially white women. So this white woman was upset that her stuff was being taken away. And she said to the reporter, "Well, I didn't think they would take mine. I thought they were only going to take it from the black people." Yeah. And it's just like what was it Nixon who said,
Johnson.
It was Johnson who said, if you convince them that they're better than black people, you could rob them blind. I'm just paraphrasing, but that's
the exact words. If you take the lowest white man and can convince him that he is still better than the best black man, you can rob him blind. That was the Johnson line.
And that is what's happening now.
I mean,
and then they're all surprised. Like, they're surprised. But I think something's happening because more and more people are like, I think that the Luigi thing sparked something. And then things keep happening. Like Kim Kardashian demanding that people donate to a fund she didn't really donate to. I mean, I'm sorry her house burnt down. You know, that's traumatic, and I hope things are better for her. But like, she is a callous billionaire who has made all of her money on the backs of Black people and Black culture.
Well, I thought you were going to say on her back.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's how it started.
Yeah, that's how it started. But like,
She wasn't good.
they've exploited a minority culture, and they have no. I mean, her own daughter said that she is shallow and doesn't care about anything but money and beauty. That she would rather be with her father, Kanye, who is, than be with her mother, because her mother is so selfish and self-involved and shallow. And I think there was a whole thing, and it came with social media, where everyone's perfect on social media and beautiful, and everyone was like, I want to be that too. And then they're like, well, buy this lip gloss. I mean, I do it as a TikTok affiliate. I'm like, oh my God, I got this purse, it's great. And I sold 50 purses this week because of it.
Nice.
And it's because I got this whole like group of women that follow me, and I
Wait, what did you sell? You sold what?
I'm a TikTok shop affiliate. So TikTok sends me stuff, and I'm like, this tumbler is great, and it keeps your stuff cold for 24 hours, and I use it all the time. And people are like, oh my God, I just ordered it. I ordered the pink one. They're DMing me, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, I love it. Do you love it? That's a smaller version of what.
Wow. If you had 1 million followers, how much you make?
Yeah.
How much you make holding that up?
But so that's kind of the way the culture was. They created this fake persona, and then everyone wanted to look like that, and everyone bought their Skims and their lip gloss and all their things. Mm-hmm. And I think now people are realizing, well, we just made these people richer. They got all our money, and we have nothing. Like, billionaires aren't necessary. Why do we have billionaires? I think more and more people are asking,
and we don't even have
why
cool
do we have billionaires?
At least back in the day, the evil dudes would open a Carnegie Library or a concert hall.
Well, that was Andrew Carnegie
or some shit. And these guys don't do shit.
Andrew Carnegie was dying.
$300 billion, there would be no homeless people in Sacramento.
Well, Warren
you know
Buffett
what I mean?
is not. Well, hang on a second. Warren Buffett, you got to take out of that. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1952 in Omaha. And Warren Buffett is giving
other houses to buy in Omaha.
He's giving $58 billion away. He's leaving his children enough money so that they have to do something. That's what he said. So that they'll be okay, but they have to do something. He's giving it all away. And that's kind of how it should be. And there are some people who are responsible. I mentioned Costco earlier. We were talking about businesses that aren't good to their employees. And I think it was last year, the year before last, the chairman of the board of Costco forwent his annual bonus so that all of his employees could get a raise. He said, no bonus for me. Let's give it all to the employees. So there are some people who will do
Benioff. Salesforce Benioff. He's pretty good.
Yeah. And, and there's something, and the flip side of it is, I remember probably 10 or 12 years ago that Kim Kardashian was getting paid $1 million just to make an appearance at a New Year's Eve party for an hour. Didn't have to do anything, just show up to make $1 million. And it's just, the world is just so.
I'd have done it for $100.
I'd done it for 45, but that's not
my OnlyFans is oldersweatingman.com in case you want to go on it.
I'm on gnarledblackfeet.com.
Yeah, but I will answer DMs with whatever I can. I mean, everybody's got to monetize everything all the time now, but I think Yanni's right. It's really a matter of punishing other people. There's not a lot of motivation. I talk to my relatives when I have to, and it's pretty dismal what their point of view is.
How so?
And part of it is they either choose and or live in a place where they're literally not exposed to any facts. Mm-hmm. So the constant flow of bullshit that they're fed is something they believe, and then they embrace it anyway because it already reinforces their natural inclination to be the narrow-minded bigots that they are.
Mm-hmm. And so people I hate.
They don't see it as they don't perceive themselves. the great Orwellian doublethink is perceiving yourself as a victim while victimizing other people, voting for people who oppress you while not realizing you're the oppressed. And he explained it as the ability to hold two contradictory ideas as truth simultaneously. And that's what is going on in America. The giant flood of information, disinformation, has made people literally think and doublethink and speak and double speak. When you see these nominees get up this week and all this jazz, none of them are speaking in anything resembling coherent, logical, professional language.
Competence.
Yeah,
I had to stop watching it. I was becoming like grumpy old person screaming at the TV, and I was just like, okay.
I'm not watching any
Murders in the Building. You know that? What do we call that show? But
I'm not watching any of it.
Obama yet.
Let me ask you this: are you guys going to watch the inauguration on Monday?
Why?
No.
Nope.
Yeah. See, I'm not either.
Nope.
Oh,
In fact,
shit!
I'm
It's
doing
on
a
Martin
show.
Luther King Day this year too. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say it's on Martin Luther King Day.
We have strayed so far from God's path.
The most racist president we've ever elected in America, and he's going to be inaugurated on Martin Luther King Day.
I weep for this country.
But no, I'm not going to watch it.
I'm not watching it either because I would never support his fascism. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I can't help but think about people like Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett and Frederica Wilson and Representative Underwood and all the people who are going to have to carry. Angela Alsop, who just got elected senator from Maryland. They have to carry on working. And they have to carry on in the face of all this. And I've checked out completely from watching news, MSNBC or anything like that, because it's too agitating.
I
don't want to see him, and I don't want to hear him, and I don't care what drama he's going through on a day-by-day basis. For me, it's a matter of like in the next 4 years, I'm going to take care of myself, of course, my wife and my boyfriend, but also I think we have to look after each other and be our information source for each other and sort of lock arms and link, together to fight against this. My parents were old, and they were Depression era World War II parents. And they had to go through World War II. And this is what the beginning of was like before. This is also what America was like in 1968. It's what America was like in 1958. It's what America was like in 1948. It's what America was,
I'll go to the 30s and the America First movement was a lot like, look at Rachel Maddow's books. The couple of books she's written about how this is nothing new. You had pro-Nazi congressmen who were disseminating at taxpayer expense Nazi propaganda that was written by Hitler's minister of propaganda. And there's a thing there's a program that is a courtesy to Congress people that they can mail whatever they want to their constituents, and it's free. And they were on the take. There were a number of them that were on the take from the Nazis and were getting propaganda that was written specifically for them, and they would just mail it out to their constituents who assumed it was coming from their congressperson, and actually it was Nazi propaganda. So this is nothing new.
For Russia today, and now it's Russia.
There's nothing new.
They've switched it for Russia.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem. And I agree with what you're saying, Greg, in that I'm a news junkie. I've been a news junkie since I was 14 years old, and since the election, I have watched very little news. Very, very little news. And considering the fact that that's what it is I do, I'm bringing back the Great American Shit Show that I thought I was done, the monologues on the era of Trump, thought I was done with it. And now I'm going to have the first one at Marin Center on inauguration night for all the people who are it's our anti-inauguration party. I'm calling it The Resistance Begins. But the problem with what you're saying, I agree with, because for peace of mind, I noticed that my stress level is way down, but the problem is that the more of us who stick our heads in the sand, there's nothing to stop them. There's nothing to stand in the way.
I don't
There's
know if it's
nothing to keep them from doing all of the terrible things that we're afraid that it is that we're going to do. We can't just, throw our hands up and stick our heads in the sand and hope that when we take them out, everything's going to be fine. That's the part of it that worries me.
I don't think it's a sticking your head in the sand, like ignoring all these biased media corporations and laying off of the misinformation that's around is not sticking your head in the sand. I mean, you can still organize, you can still find joy, you can still create community.
That is true.
You have to, it's leaderless resistance at this point, to borrow from our enemies. You have to go out by yourself and just do cool shit and embody joy and peaceful resistance. You know what I mean? Like, do shows, be funny, put your politics out there in a way that everybody can get it. These are the challenges that we're going to have to face. And
where I live, audience members choose violence if they don't like what you're saying on stage here.
Yeah,
and they're getting worse and worse, and that's problematic. So
I'm sorry. I'm fortunate that I'm 6'3", 235 pounds. So they think a long time before they choose violence.
Just an aside, and Guy, you were there. I did a big New Year's Eve show in Castro Valley, California, and I had 6 comics on the bill, and Guy was on the bill. And Joe Klosek, I think you guys all know Joe, very, very funny comic. Joe had this bit that I've never seen him do before, where he had a pocket full of glitter, and I think that the premise of it was something about gay pride and homophobes and gay pride, and so he starts throwing glitter on the stage and throwing glitter on the people in the front row. And it was an older crowd, an older conservative crowd. And this older guy got up when he got glitter on him and yelled at Joe and flipped him off and said, F you, that's not funny, and storms out. And it was the kind of guy that you look at and you think, is this guy going to go out and get an AK-47 out of his garage and come back? I mean, seriously, it was like that. The show was a whole big kerfuffle that he threw. Apparently, just a FYI for you as performers, you're never supposed to throw glitter on a stage.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Glitter's really hard to get off.
What do you rip Taylor?
They take your deposit away if they didn't do it to me. Thank goodness they warned me. Okay, so flash forward 2 weeks. I get a letter yesterday to my home address that is it's not, I can say unlisted, but there's no white pages anymore. But it's to my home address, and it is unsigned, and there's no return address, and it's from the guy. It's from the guy who got glitter on him, and he ranted and raved about getting glitter on him, and if he'd gotten glitter in his eye, he would have sued the venue. He would have sued Joe. He would have sued me. He would have sued for intentional infliction of emotional distress and attorney's fees and everything allowable by law. So I better watch out, and I better tell him never to do that again. And I thought,
and then he signed it with his Grindr profile. So you can keep that up.
Disgruntled in Court of Madeira.
but no, he never signed it. I mean, it was freaky that again, my address, as far as I'm aware, isn't public, but the fact that he sent it to my house, but also the fact that this was New Year's Eve. And we're this is January 14th. You're still stewing about getting a little bit of glitter in your hair 2 weeks ago, and
probably because his wife thought he was at the strip club. You told me you were going to a comedy show.
But the bottom line here is that people are, I guess what I'm boiling down to, the whole point of this is that people are crazy. People are crazy,
oh, yeah.
and you never know who you're going to set off. And we've got a guy at the top who has told his rallies that when somebody heckles him, to punch the hell out of him.
They all think it's White Boy Day, to take it back to True Romance, right? He's really giving them not carte blanche, for permission to kind of be as dickish as they want.
Yeah.
And that's
unfortunate.
That's one of those things. It is.
But then I've also talked to people who are who really believe that the GOP are going to protect children they have bought the whole trans people are going to traffic my children and turn them into this and that. There are people who really believe that. And one woman said that to me at an event. I was with my cousin, and she said that to me. And I was like, so you think Jeffrey Epstein's best friend who's been credibly accused of sexual assault
and adjudicated by a
Yeah.
jury, a court, to have been found guilty of sexual
Yeah,
assault.
But
convicted.
there's also like a lawsuit right now from girls and boys who said that along with Jeffrey Epstein, he did things to them. This is all allegedly, but their court, when they were 13, 12, 10,
Yeah.
like, and this is all public knowledge, like it's out there. And that's the guy who's going to save children. That's the guy.
And he's going to
Well-
protect women
well,
whether
he's-
they like it or
he's-
not.
Well, he's
Yeah.
a white guy, and we can't trust black women because they're competent and no nonsense,
Yeah.
and they get shit done.
Yeah,
so
we
can't
can't
have
trust
her.
them, but we can run to them when we need a problem solved, right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this on the issue of molestation. My cousin posted something on Facebook today that gave me food for thought, and she posted that there are thousands and thousands of women today who are sexual predators of young boys, but we don't take it seriously as a society because sex for a boy is considered to be an achievement. And on the other hand, if this were, if it's a 25 or 30-year-old woman with a 16-year-old boy, you don't look at it the same way that you would as you would if it were a 30-year-old man with a 16 or 15-year-old girl.
I think that may have been
that's
true
accurate?
in the 90s, but I mean, these days, I think people pay way more attention. If you look at what was her name, Mary Kay Letourneau.
Yeah, Mary Kay Letourneau.
You hear about
There's been several
female
arrests
teachers
here in
getting popped and
Tennessee
arrested.
from
Yeah,
teachers and female pastors. I've seen several stories here of women exploiting young boys and getting arrested for it. In like as teachers, I think there was one where it was a babysitter, and then there's a lot of pastors. There's always a youth pastor.
so many
something.
pastors.
It's bananas.
So many pastors. It's a epidemic.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it may be true, Brian, and I'm sure it is. On the other hand, women have never been taken seriously for 10,000 years about being abused. So,
Yeah, well, they have.
yes, it's an issue. And also male sexual abuse is a huge issue too in the church and in life.
Mhm.
But women, I mean, what Yanni was saying, we've literally elected a crew of pedophiles and perverts who turn it around and accuse all of us of that all the time. And they really are. And this is the and I hate to say this but this is the pro-rape administration. They got in on a ticket of this. They condone it. They approve it.
His appointees. Look at his appointees, for God's sake.
Yes, that's what I mean. Hesketh and all these other cats.
what the hell?
Yeah, I mean,
And then
they
young
always
boys
hide
are
behind the
using the
Lord.
language. Yeah, young boys are copying that language, the Nick Fuentes language and all of this. I mean, my cousin's girls, they go to like a bougie private school here, but she made it clear after she heard about that Nick Fuentes thing. She was like, she went to the school administrator and said, I told my girls to choose violence if those boys say anything. She said, so do not call me acting like you're going to suspend them. Because if those boys say my body, my choice to my daughters, I said, fuck them up. And so, but that's where boys are right now because they're given permission by, like Greg said, with this administration. And what they don't realize is that a lot of us women have had it. Like if a man comes to me with the wrong thing, I need you guys to set up a bail fund. Basically,
I got you, dog.
I know, you can call me. I'll wire you some money.
Someone come get my
send you
pets to make sure they're
ACH
okay, and I need a bail fund.
I'll get you out. Well, when I first heard the phrase rape culture a number of years ago, I kind of like yeah, and then I thought about it, and I have I love old TVs and old movies and things like that. And I've watched a lot of the stuff that I grew up watching, as a kid, movies and television shows and songs I listened to, and I listen to this stuff now. And it's like, oh my God, I mean, what it was the messages that it gave to us as boys growing up. I mean, how many times have you seen a scene in a movie where the guy grabs a girl or grabs a woman and is kissing her and she's hitting him in the back, and then all of a sudden she stops and hugs him and she's into it.
Yeah.
The whole your lips say no, but your eyes say yes. On all of this kind of nonsense.
Or hip hop in general. I can't even listen to hip hop right now because of what Diddy did. Like, and R. Kelly, all of it. I cannot. But for a long time, I've had a hard time with I love hip hop. I love hip hop. But when you listen to the lyrics, it's just like, I'm listening to Glorilla and Megan Thee Stallion.
Hey, big G-L-O from the G-L-E.
Like, I can't with these lyrics and the way they talk about women and how they normalize that culture.
Yeah.
I remember when
exploitation.
that Dr. Dre album, The Chronic, came out, I was so upset. I made my friend take that CD back to the record store. I was like, how can we listen to this bullshit sexism the whole time? And to my dismay, that album is a hit and it's a banger and it's a cultural touchstone for so many people. And I'm like, stop.
I used to work in producing and promoting hip hop parties, and like you put certain songs on and every girl is on the dance floor just like, this is my jam to this song that is just.
What, did Little Half Dag put his dick on her head?
It's what's that
that's
song?
An actual
When I met you
lyric.
Last night, baby.
Yeah,
that one, and every woman is on that. Like, it ain't
you
no
showed
fun.
me your gap.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you going back to R. Kelly for a minute, though, I mean, but some of and this is again why it's just so weird that he was doing. Well, hang on a second. That he was doing what he was doing. They were singing. My grandmother's favorite song was "I Believe I Can Fly." They were singing "I Can Believe I Can Fly" in church. There were church choirs that were singing in the Black Baptist church, singing "I Believe I Can Fly."
So one of the problems with that is, like, you cancel that guy, and then everybody's got to burn all their high school graduation tapes, all their middle school graduation tapes. That song is everywhere. I was in a bar in Vegas one time watching the game, and somebody put some R. Kelly on the jukebox, and I turned to the dude next to me. I was like, "Y'all still listen to R. Kelly out here?" And he goes, "Well, those songs didn't fuck no kids."
Yeah, I can't listen to any of it. I can't listen to R. Kelly. I can't listen to anything from Bad Boy Productions.
How about Michael Jackson?
I can't listen to any of it.
How about Michael Jackson?
I don't know, but Michael Jackson, was it ever really?
It's an alleged.
Convicted of anything?
It's alleged.
I bet it's a mountain of circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, and then the whole conspiracy rumor mill, with Diddy. Apparently Diddy killed everybody. Like Whitney Houston, Prince, everybody. Maybe he had something to do with Michael. Like, everyone's going crazy with this.
He did explode Wiz Khalifa's car, though. Was it Wiz Khalifa's car?
That.
Yeah. He had
Brittany Johnson. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, I just can't listen to any of it. I listen to house music.
Hey.
And Glorilla and Megan Thee Stallion. I can't even listen to Cardi B because of the rumors about Cardi B.
Check out some Prof. Listen to Pete and Baz. I love those guys. They're old limeys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you can't separate. You're saying you cannot separate the artist from the art.
It evokes when I hear.
No, not in the art. I'm not talking about the art that is specifically demeaning to women or demeaning to or encouraging violence towards women or towards children. I'm talking about something like there's not a Michael Jackson song that's like that. But there are people who absolutely will not listen to Michael Jackson because of the mountain of evidence. When you're talking about R. Kelly, what R. Kelly did was deplorable, and he deserves to rot in jail for the rest of his life.
I can't listen to any of his songs.
You can't listen to it. Can you listen to a Bill Cosby album?
No.
Can you watch?
I can't even watch the show.
I'm still so mad. You have no idea. Oh my God. I'm still so upset that he does not exist. He is dead to me. I spit in his general direction.
I mean, because for me, growing up, Bill Cosby, when the Cosby Show came out, I went, oh my God. Finally, a show about Black people like me.
Right.
Not this good times, Steppenfett shit, but successful, accomplished, middle-class Black people. Like, this is my family. And I really loved Bill Cosby. And then when that came out, I was like, man, fuck Bill Cosby. I don't care if he's blind. I hope somebody fucks him up in jail. I was mad.
No,
Like,
he was
so
the
mad.
first
I cannot
comic guy.
watch the show.
The first comic I remember listening to, the first comic I memorized all of his routines. I saw him in concert when I was 13. I thought he was an absolute paragon. His betrayal is, I don't think you undo that. And no, I haven't listened to Bill Cosby. Michael Jackson made it a little bit easier by dying. And I know that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true.
I
The
agree
fact
with
that he's
that,
out
though.
of fucking sight and out of mind, and you can just listen. I grew up on the Jackson 5. The first album I ever bought was the Jackson 5's greatest hits. So it's
I
like,
saw them at the Circle Star in
Right, the Circle
1970.
Star.
Spinning
Right.
line. I worked at the
That was my
Circle Star
first
once.
concert.
no,
I
you
played
My
it
didn't.
first
once.
concert.
Yeah.
You want to know who I opened for at the Circle Star? Ready?
Who?
Doobie Brothers.
Air Supply.
Oh my God.
I opened.
My
for-
understanding is they're all out of love. Yeah.
So
You know-
love,
you know they're making a
version of the
biopic?
Circle Star, the
saw
Silvers
Tom
and
Jones.
Tavares, who just
Wow.
passed away. I saw Tavares at the Circle Star.
Tavares.
The Four Tops and the Temptations at the Circle. Pearl Bailey. Hello.
Wow.
My
I
mother
saw
took me to see
Sinatra.
Pearl Bailey.
I saw
I went
Sinatra.
I think I went to a KMEL summer jam there.
Right. Remember the Summer Jam?
For those of you who are outside the Bay Area, the Circle Star was the Circle Star was a legendary theater on the peninsula here in the Bay Area,
Carlos,
and it was around for
California.
years and years and years. And it had a
Tower
spinning
Power.
stage. The stage revolved, but everybody played. Nat King Cole's last concert before he died was at the
Wow.
Circle Star Theater.
Wow.
Oh,
But I
Duran
saw-
Duran there too.
No
Yeah.
Everybody
shit.
played there.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
So
saw
that-
Tower Power with Cheech and Chong opening.
Man,
that's
a Stony
an
Licious
odd show.
That's a monster show. Makes sense. to me.
I'm from San Carlos. That's where it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I'm surprised
Yeah,
you
you
didn't
were
work
right
there.
I know, right? And then I saw Ella when I was little there, and then I took Jennifer to see Ella before she passed away in the early '90s there at a matinee, and it was an astonishingly intimate place, and also when the stage started moving, it would go. This horrible ass noise, you know. It was just, and the snack bar was terrible. It was like hot dogs and shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So here's my Circle Star story. Back about about the mid '90s. Sid Caesar and Danny Thomas and Milton Berle were on tour, the Legends
Wow.
of Comedy, and they were playing the Circle Star. And the San Jose Mercury News decided they wanted to do a story on the young comics and the old comics. So they got me, and they got two. They told me to pick two friends. So I brought Bruce Baum, by Baby Man, and Chicago Steve Barkley.
Oh,
And
kittens.
they sat us in the front row to watch their show, and then they took us backstage to do dual interviews with them and with me. So the first room that I walk into, dressing room, is Milton Berle's dressing room. And I walk in, I go, "Hi, Mr. Berle, I'm Brian Copeland, I'm a comedian." And he goes, "What do you call a colored guy who stutters?" "A cocoon." Get it?
Oh my God.
And I said, "Very nice to meet you, Mr. Berle." And I walked out. Swear to God.
Oh my God.
That's like when I was stuck at the Throckmorton with, I feel stuck is the accurate way to say it, stuck in the green room with Mort Saul. And he decided that I was responsible for Obama, who he hated. And he turned to me and was like, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to die mid-sentence. And then he was like, your boy, Obama. And I'm like, our President Barack Obama. What about him? And I looked at him and he just went, because he knew it just wasn't going to work with me.
Not gonna work.
And then I got up and I was like, oh, I'm going to get something to drink. Do you want anything? And he was like, yeah, can you get me this and that? And I got it for him. And Ron Vai was like, why are you getting him a drink? I was like, he's so old. Like, I don't know why I give old people a pass, but I give old people a pass. I'm like, yeah, you're horrible, whatever, but you're going to die soon. So I'll go get your coffee for you.
You can't punch him.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him at the Throckmorton too, and I went in the last time I saw him there. I went in to say hi to him, and he was really out of it. And the problem with Mort Saul was in the late 50s and early 60s, he was rather hip and edgy, and even in the 70s, he detested Nixon. And then he became a terrible misogynist fascist for the rest of his life.
Really?
And he loathed Hillary and he loathed Obama. And something snapped in him. I don't know if it was his Hollywood thing or whatever, but he just, So I gave him a respect like you would give any old comic, but he was a horrible. I took Jennifer to see him in the Cape's guitar store, I remember, in the early 2000s. And he did a whole long thing about how much he hated Hillary and shit. And then we went upstairs to meet him. And Robert Weedy was there. Remember Robert Weedy, the documentarian who did the Lenny Bruce Without Tears and all that.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about show business. I'd never met Mort Sahl. I did not know him. I walked into the room and he went, "Hey, Greg, how are you?" And that's how old school performers will get you. They will get you because they're going to act like you're already in the same club as them. They're going to act like you know them and shit. And but he was coherent then. By the time he was playing the Throck,
Yeah. Well,
God rest his soul. But he was a terrible Nazi.
Now, the thing I'd always heard about Mort Sahl was
Saul.
Right. Who would
have thought?
Was supposed to be the
Stephen Miller in for the Trump administration. Stephen Miller, same thing,
Yeah.
But the thing with Mort Sahl, what I'd always heard and always read was that where he lost it was the Kennedy assassination.
Well,
that he used to walk on stage with a newspaper in a sweater, and he'd open the paper and would do jokes on the news of the day. And when the Kennedy assassination and the pictures in Time magazine came out, and Jackie is trying to climb. Remember, Jackie climbs out of the car. Tries to climb out of the tower where the shooting starts. And there were actually people criticizing her for not staying by her husband's side when her husband's head just got blown off. And he apparently just lost it and was sure there was a conspiracy. And as we most people who are thinking believe so now still. But supposedly that's when he lost it. You know who really, my favorite show, this is so inside baseball. My favorite show business story. Do you remember Von Meter?
Lenny Bruce. I was just going to tell that story.
No, Von Meter?
Yeah.
Von Meter was a comic whose one bit was he could do Kennedy.
A great Kennedy. Two gold albums.
Yeah, 2 gold albums. The First Family was the first one.
Right.
And his writers were Jerry Belson and Gary Marshall. It was Gary Marshall and Jerry Belson. Yeah, they wrote all that Von Meter stuff. And Gary Marshall writes in one of his books that the way that he found out if that Kennedy got killed was his phone rings, he picks it up, and it's his writing partner, Jerry. He goes, Jerry, we're fucked.
Yeah, I heard it.
That's how he found out.
Lenny Bruce had a show like shortly after the assassination, right? And everybody, he's got to say something. They don't know what he's going to do. And he goes on stage. He's like, Von Meter is fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's too soon.
I mean, what can you say?
And you never heard from him again.
It was right. He didn't really put out an album after that. His LBJ impersonation was not nearly as good.
It's funny when you look at some of these guys and how they started. That if you ever get a chance, read the Gary Marshall book. He started out writing for Lamb Chop.
No shit.
Right. See, Lamb Chop had writers.
Jerry Lewis
and Lamb Chop. See, and here's the worst part. The worst part is they would bring the material in, and Lamb Chop would go over it and would berate them if the jokes weren't funny. Lamb Chop would berate them.
You guys put this shit in front of me. Who the hell do you think you are?
Oh my God!
You got to talk to the sock.
See, we have to laugh now because I'm trying to keep it as light as I can today because we're
speaking of Lamb Chop at the Alameda County Fair when I was a little kid. Willie Tyler and Lester.
Oh. He made me want to be a ventriloquist.
Lester.
Remember Willie Tyler and Lester?
Sure, Tommy
You're too young, Yanni. He was a black ventriloquist, and Lester was the hip black puppet. He had little granny glasses and a big apple hat.
Yeah,
and he go like, what? Like that. Lester was hilarious.
I'm gonna look him up.
Willie Tyler was square as a board. Willie Tyler go, "Gee, Lester, what'd you do today?" And Lester go, "Get off my back."
I'm pretty sure that he opened for the Jackson 5 with the Circle Star, and I wanted to be a ventriloquist. And I either saved up my money or my mom bought me a ventriloquist doll for Christmas or something, and I used to do
That's right, because you could buy you could buy the Lester.
You could buy a
doll.
Lester. I had a Lester.
You could buy Lester.
Yeah.
And Lester
Oh, wow.
was like a little hipster, like flip dude. And Willie Tyler was like this. Gee whiz, Lester.
Of course, that's how it goes. We can't all be George and Otto.
Well, the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest ventriloquist of all time is Edgar Bergen, and that's because he was able to. Because he was able to convince CBS to let him be a ventriloquist on the radio.
Yeah.
On the radio. How are you? And it was a top 10 show for like 15 years. How are you a ventriloquist? And you could see his lips move on the radio. He wasn't a great ventriloquist. You could see his lips moving on the radio. He was not a great ventriloquist.
Kevin Kataoka used to have a bit about, the ventriloquist is bad when there's better ventriloquists in the audience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this guy sucks.
This guy sucks.
See, as I said, I'm trying to keep it light today because we're on the eve of destruction.
Yeah.
We really are. And there's
over
and over and over.
There's not going to be much to laugh about over the course of the next this time next week. There won't be very much to laugh about.
There's always something to laugh about.
There's a whole crew of people who they call them Blue Anon. Have you heard about Blue Anon? And they're like, he's never getting inaugurated. It's not going to happen. And I'm like, and so I'll put something on TikTok and they're like, why are you saying he's going into the White House? He's not going into the White House. And I'm like, okay.
Is something going to happen before Monday? So we all have to look forward to President Vance.
They had to release the report and he had to be sentenced in the other thing so that they could invoke the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment before the 19th. I mean, it's just there's like a whole network of psychics online who are like, Spirit has been talking to me and telling me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is how we are becoming them. Like, this is not okay.
Well, I should mention here, and I did want to start when we should mention this today, because this is the big story of the last 24 hours, and that is that the Justice Department released the report laying out the details of the former special counsel investigation into the January 6th case. He laid out exactly what the case was he had against Trump, and he said pretty much it's a slam dunk. Yeah. He would have been convicted. So what just so infuriates me and is so disheartening is he tried to overthrow the government. He took boxes and boxes of classified documents, including nuclear secrets, and kept them in his toilet. Mm-hmm. He was found guilty on 34 felony counts, not to mention all the civil stuff, but on the criminal stuff, and nothing happened to him. Even on 34 felony counts, it's okay. Yes, you're a convicted felon, but no jail, no probation. You're done as far as this court is concerned.
It would be hilarious to have the president wearing an ankle monitor, though. Let me just say that.
No, it would have been great.
We could have done the funniest thing ever.
But the thing is this, and that is, what does this say about the rule of law in America? How does Judge Merchan...
It's the same as it's always been.
Hang on a second. How does Judge Merchan...
how Greg feels, but you're going to ask two black people?
Well, what I'm asking this is, how does Judge Merchan with a straight face sentence the next guy who's convicted of one or two of the same counts that Trump was, send him to jail? How do you do that? I just don't.
He said he couldn't enforce it because Trump is going to be president, and he just doesn't see it feasible of sentencing him to jail time. And how that would actually
other criminals
work
have run their empires from jail. Ask Capone. Ask Gotti. Look, he can president from jail. Ask Martha Stewart. He can president from jail.
For me, it's just white privilege. Like, this is like the uber example of white privilege. Like, if you look it up in the dictionary, that's there. Like, this is the ultimate in white privilege. And so, as a black person, I'm not surprised.
I mean, how many times could you be found in contempt?
I'm not surprised.
How many times could you be found in contempt of court and not go to jail? He was found in contempt like 10 times. Yeah, you, me, any of us. How many times?
No, not even once. The first time I would probably be fined and go to jail.
And then held a press conference outside, bad-mouthing the judge. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
literally right outside his courtroom.
I would be under the jail.
Yeah.
Explain that to me. I got a
That's
whole bit
great.
about that because my grandmother always used to say, "What does that mean?" My grandmother always said, "They put you under the jail." It's a black people thing. What does it mean?
Well, in TikTok language, it means you're unalived. You no
Ah!
longer live.
I didn't know that.
You are
I don't follow the
unalive.
TikToks. Unalive.
Because you can't say dead on social media. They'll like take down your post and
You can't say
violate
kill
you.
or suicide.
Yeah, you can't say gun. You can't say dead. You can't say certain things. So you have to say
You can't
unalive.
say rape.
Yeah, and you have to say grape.
Yeah.
Unalived, grape. Instead of gun, you say pew pew.
Yeah.
We are grown ups saying pew pew. We are adults.
You can't say weed. You have to say you have to spell it OUI''D.
Oh, I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, TikTok hates weed.
Remember
Yeah.
we? Remember we?
Remember we? Oh, we.
We.
We players.
That was between my mattress and my box spring.
Players.
Wow.
Players was
between my
legit.
mattress.
Yeah. So
my box spring.
yeah, under the jail means that you are unalive. You know, you are. They took you out and then buried you under the jail.
So that's what that means.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Learn something new every day.
It's a nod back. It's a nod back to like the Jim Crow era. Like we're not in it still, but it's a nod back to, you know, the mob justice and the lynchings, and then they would hide the evidence by burying them. Yeah. So
because my grandma always said that puts you under the jail. Oh, what the hell does that mean?
That means you're not getting out. You're in the dungeons.
Yeah.
You're the
done.
Count of Monte Cristo at that point.
Yeah.
All right.
You're looking for the cask of Amontillado.
Before we run out of time, something really light. We're going to end with here. Really light.
Cool.
Oh,
Hey,
boy.
first of all, were you aware that Jessica Alba's a billionaire?
Oh,
No,
from her
but it makes sense.
brand, from her honest brand.
Yeah, she's 43 years old and she's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Alba is a. I know that's exactly
Good for her.
Right. That's exactly
Rihanna. Rihanna is a billionaire not because of her music, but because of
her makeup.
Fenty. Yeah,
Fenty,
because of her cosmetics and her clothing line. She's a billionaire.
And and I guess Khloe Kardashian is the youngest billionaire ever.
I'm a thousandaire if anyone wants to.
Not Kylie.
Is it?
You're a thousandaire.
Who's the youngest one? You're a thousandaire.
Kylie Kendall.
Kippy.
I don't know.
Kippy Kardashian, a lot of people don't know. She's building a supplement empire.
Uday Kardashian.
Uday, and Kursay.
All right, so here is my question. This, and Jessica Alba had me thinking about this because I have friends who are my age who have crushes on Jessica Alba.
Sure,
certainly.
And you probably played this game before, and that is if you're in a relationship, and I know that Greg, you're married.
I'm
I don't know. You're
gentleman.
single? Yeah.
Hey.
If you're married, if you're in a relationship, or if you were in a relationship, and if you were allowed to get one celebrity pass, just one who you, if you didn't do it, you'd hate yourself for the rest of your life. Who would it be?
Oh, this is so easy for me. Oh, it's so easy. Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'd tell him, I'd be like, this is what I'm about to go do. Deal with it.
Yeah, completely understandable.
I have this opportunity. Oh my God, I love Idris Elba. So
Yeah.
and that's all I have to say about that.
He is fine. Now,
he's like,
here's the question.
Say his name. I just said his name, and I'm
here's
like,
the question.
Yeah.
Stringer Bell Idris Elba or Luther Idris Elba?
Every single one.
All the Idris Elba.
All the
every iteration of Idris Elba.
Yes, even the Idris who looked really bad in a picture of him vacationing in Ibiza. That Idris too. All the Idris.
I'm over in Ibiza Idris. That's all.
Yes.
Didn't have to think about it.
No,
not at all.
Okay, and Gaia?
Janet Jackson could always get it. She could get it since she was Penny at Good Times, brother. I feel like I've grown up with her. I followed, bro. All her albums talk to me on a personal level.
Different
We've gone
strokes.
through the same phases. Yeah, different strokes. Facts of Life. I think she was on whatever she was on. She could get it. She's always. It's not even a thing. If I met her at a party, I would do my best not to go fanboy. But if she hit on me, it would be over. That's it.
Would you? All right. Now, would you tell your partner?
I'm single, bro. I don't have to tell anybody.
No. If,
I mean,
I
would tell everybody.
If you had a partner with you.
Tell my partner, I'm telling everybody. I'm going to confession. Dude, I'm not even Catholic. What's up? What's up? Let me tell you something. Janet Jackson hit on me, dog, and it is on.
Okay, Greg, you're married, so you can pass if you want.
That's the way love
I'm not.
goes.
This isn't a fruitful game because were I to do anything untoward, my life would be ruined. And so I keep that in the front of my mind. However, if it was Claudia Cardinale back in the day, Claudia Cardinale, the Italian movie star, she's in the Pink Panther. She's in the hundreds of.
Oh, okay.
Look her up. Or Catherine Deneuve, maybe, but I don't know.
Catherine Deneuve. Listen, if Catherine Deneuve and Susan Sarandon wanted to reenact some things from that vampire movie they did with Bowie.
Sophia Loren and I know they're all 100, but
you were so sedity for a San Carlos war. You got to leave the country to find a woman. There's no American on your list at all. No American on your list at all.
Oh, Claudia Cardinale, indeed, sir. Congratulations.
Yeah,
listen,
she's 86.
She's 86 now, Greg. So I don't know.
That makes it legit for me.
You're saying there's a chance.
I'm a young man to her. Like, there's an actor named Udo Kier, and he's in his 80s, and he lives in Palm Springs, and he's a wonderful actor and very spooky German actor. And someone said, "Why do you live in Palm Springs?" And he went, "Because I'm young there."
Right.
Oh my God.
He goes, in Palm Springs, they're like, "Oh, young man, can you please pass the salt?"
Yeah. Yeah. There's a dive bar in Sacramento that I used to drink at, so I could feel like the young dude.
Yeah.
Because they're all in their 70s and whatnot.
Well, what about you, Brian?
Eva Longoria.
Really?
Good choice.
Wow.
Eva Longoria, that's mine. Wow. And I will tell you, she's my second. My first, remember when I said you'd hate yourself forever? My first was one that I actually had an opportunity, and I said no. And I'm not going to.
Eva Longoria?
Was it Pam Grier?
No, not Eva Longoria.
Okay.
I'll tell you off air, but I'm not going to tell you on air.
Oh, good. Right? Then I can put it on my podcast next week.
Thanks. The first time you mentioned me on your podcast, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Anything you guys want to mention? So, Greg, you got a show coming up?
I'm on the road with Who's Live anyway. We're in Everett, Washington. Then we're in Victoria. Then we're in the Bay Area.
Oh, where?
February, we're in San Rafael at the Dominican College on the 14th. And then we're in San Jose at San Jose Civic on the 15th. And we're all over the country, man. Again, we have like 70-something dates between now and June. So, and that's an improv show. Me, Ryan Stiles, Jeff Davis, Joel Murray, and Laura Hall. And then I got a podcast called Smartest Man in the World. I have a film club we're showing next Thursday, Sweet Smell of Success. That's at the Los Feliz Street Theater.
That is a great movie.
Isn't it?
That is really a great
nasty
movie.
Show business movie.
Yeah.
What does he say? "You're dead, son. Go get yourself buried." What Burt Lancaster says to Tony Curtis, Burt Lancaster's a right-wing journalist, a tabloid asshole. Mm-hmm. And Tony Curtis is a PR agent. And he goes, "Boy, I'd hate to take a bite out of you. You're like a cookie full of arsenic."
Oh, that's great.
What's the Andy Griffith one?
Facing the crowd.
Facing the Crowd. Thank you. I always confuse those two. Because they're both
playing nasty 50s, you know. Mm-hmm. Sweet Smell is a way New York movie, and Facing the Crowd is a kind of a country Hollywood. Well, I guess they're in New York because his TV is in New York in this.
Well, he's Winchell. He's basically being Winchell.
And I have a new album called He's Being Winchell. I have an album called Purple Shots to Raccoon, and that's out now, and you can get it on my website and anywhere where fine albums are sold. I improvised it at the Punchline the year before.
Send me something. I'll put it on my social.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being. Always a pleasure to have you, my friend. And Gaio, where are you getting stoned these days?
My house. Just come on over. Ask around. They know where I am. Shit, I don't even know. I'm sure I have some gigs. You can. February 19th, I'll be at the Cafe Colonial in Sacramento, California, and then you can see me in March at the International Cannabis Business Conference in Barcelona. Come on out.
All right.
And there's some other things. Oh, and hey, the person who wanted to help me with my website, I lost your number. Find me again. and we'll put it up there on the website that I never use. But find me on all the social media, NGAIO420.
Okay, Yanni's now the social media queen.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll still be on TikTok.
Yeah, we'll find out.
And
well, they say the Supreme Court's leaning is really leaning towards. Well, it's not going to go away. They're not going to let it go away. They will just sell it to an American company. They'll sell it to an American company. That's what's
but ByteDance says they will absolutely not do that.
So they'd rather go down. They'll rather burn it to the ground than sell it to an American company.
Well, because they're thriving in all the other countries.
Okay. Yeah, but this is their biggest market.
This is the U.S. division. This is their biggest market, and people are making tons of money on TikTok. And I mean, I've just started with the money making part, and I thought I was going to make like a couple $100 here and there. I've only been doing it for a month and a half, and I've made a nice amount of money. So,
can you pay your rent? Did you make enough to pay your rent?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Enough to pay my rent, yeah. And then I'm putting a little aside every month, because the only high-end designer that I'm only going to buy stuff from, even though she was a schmatzi, because you can't say Nazi on TikTok, is the Chanel.
Coco,
I'm going to buy myself a Chanel bag.
Chanel was a Nazi? I didn't know that.
Chanel was a Nazi.
Yeah. So was Hugo Boss.
I had no idea Chanel was a Nazi.
Yeah, and Christian Dior, he designed some dresses for the wives of when they were occupying Paris. There's a great
Hugo Boss also, yeah.
Oh, Hugo Boss designed the Nazi uniforms.
Yeah, he designed the uniforms.
He did?
That's why they look so nice.
I was going to say, and by the way, they looked fuck off.
Yeah, there's a whole show that I cannot remember the name of that's based on what happened to the couture houses in Paris on Apple TV that's really good, and it focuses on Christian Dior, but it focuses also on Chanel and how she conspired with. She was forced to work with the Nazis, and it almost destroyed her.
And by the way, Ilsa Schiaparelli didn't, and she was Jewish.
So,
all right, how about some dirt on the Levi's?
So,
Picks and shovels, baby.
We'll see how he does as mayor, right? Yeah, no, I'm going to be working with you.
Yes, and Yanni's going to be a regular.
I'm excited.
Yanni's going to be a regular on this channel. We're expanding this channel. She's going to be doing commentary, several commentaries a week, and eventually she's going to do her own podcast on this channel. So welcome aboard. It's I'm looking forward to seeing what it is that you do. And I want to mention too that I am going to be doing I thought I was done with it. The Great American Shit Show. It is monologues on life in the Trump era. The fourth monologue will be a living and breathing monologue. It'll be the outrage of the week. So I'll keep you up to date as much as I can stomach with it.
That sounds good, man.
It's a combination of solo play and stand up and commentary. It's 7:00 at the Marin Center, the Showcase Theater in San Rafael. If you want to get tickets are available right now. You can go to the Marin Center website. You can buy tickets at the box office there, or if you go to briancopeland.com, there's a link that'll take you to the Marin Center box office. So hopefully I will see you Monday, because I am not going to watch this circus on Monday afternoon. I can't do that to Dr. King.
I'm gonna go to hot yoga. That's where I'll be while it's happening.
There you go, hot yoga.
So that I don't explode in rage. I'm just gonna do the opposite.
Do something nice for yourself.
Yeah.
Danny Ababal and Guy Obilam, Greg Proops, always a pleasure to have you. Greg, I'm gonna try and come see you next month where you're in town, probably on the 15th.
Just let me know, man. Let me know. Don't pay.
Okay.
I get the employee discount.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. I get $1 off. All right, awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, a pleasure, guys. Thanks much.
Thank you.
Bye, Don.
Bye.